That's what
What's up, y'all?
We need a marker.
It is the More Watts podcast. I am your co-host. I'm Chad. Instagram, Chad Bennett. What's going on?
Chill. Call me Ak. You can find us at Black Watch Cycling page on Instagram.
Word.
I was everybody.
And I'm Chris. Tron Rides on IG. What's up, everybody? Welcome back.
I'm excited because we've launched a podcast and the response has been amazing.
Yeah.
Did y'all expect that?
Nah, I had no expectations as far as a pod. It was just a fun idea to start, but this is grown into something that has definitely surprised me as far as the level of appreciation. Like, for somebody to even bring it up, to me, is bugged out. Like, when someone even talks about it, so that's a good look.
I mean, I expected it. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, not on some arrogance type thing, but I just understand that the need is there.
Yeah.
Right, and the void was there, and we wanted to step in the void. And other folks are going to have their podcasts out there. A lot of other folks. Shout out to everybody that's starting a podcast in 2023. We need more people in the space, but I feel like when we stepped in, we filled the void, and I feel like our voice is unique. So, when you look at the mosaic of the nice quilt of all the podcasts and the stories that are out there, it's a nice spot for us.
Yeah.
Because there's 1,000 stories that could be told,
all the time.
And everyone has somewhat of a unique experience as it relates to cycling.
Mm-hmm.
So the stories can definitely be shared.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to feel like, oh, since they have a podcast, we can't do one either.
Absolutely.
Nah, not at all. But how's we're officially in quote unquote off season. What have you been noticing? Because it feels like now we're going through a transition in the industry where, like, in the pandemic, there was a huge boom of cycling, and now we're like in a recession.
Yeah.
And so the industry is shifting. Like, what are you feeling or seeing?
The swing it's crazy from not knowing what you were gonna do, like, not physically, but there's no gyms, there's no, no spaces where people were congregating, so all that was closed. So just to be able to come outside and ride the bike was crazy. And so that whole span of time with COVID, everybody went crazy on it as far as bikes are concerned. But now we're in the polar opposite. Like, it's totally switched over. And so A, you're outside, B, it's a recession. So the look of it to me is kind of crazy. And I'm sure that everybody could look outside and be like, yeah, things are different right now, but
we back outside.
I mean, for me, I mean, being a business nerd, I think it's just cool to be able to see the peak of an industry and then the bottom of the industry in like 24 months. That's actually crazy.
That's the thing that's blowing my mind is it's happened so quickly.
That time frame is stupid.
So quickly.
So do you feel like cycling has lost its buzz, and for the average consumer, they may have wasted money?
I think on a net basis that, okay, fine. If, for example, let's say if 100 new people came into cycling, 60 probably left, but you still got 40.
Right. New ones. Yeah, facts.
So if 100 new ones came in that never was in the industry, maybe 60% left and 40 are still here. But how that 40, or maybe that 40% is a little low. Maybe it's a little higher than that. But the way I look at it is that 40, maybe they're not outside as much as they used to be, but they now understand the importance of health and how cycling can help them on their health journey.
Yeah.
So whether they were on Pelotons first and then they moved outside or vice versa, I still think people, definitely in the summer when the weather is warm, are going to be outside on bikes more.
Yeah, I think the time frame is crazy. I don't think infrastructure wise, like you know how between Montclair and Jersey City they're playing in that span,
that
right? So
greenway.
I just infrastructure wise, I don't think either states, cities, whatever townships were able to catch this craze, like, in order to benefit from it, or they're attempting to, but like you said, 24 months is bonkers, bro. For it to go all the way up to come all the way back down in that span of time. If there were a couple more things at play that were able to flesh itself all the way out in that span of time, I think we would have been a lot better than we are right now. But summertime comes, I don't know. People are definitely gonna be outside doing
back outside.
Bro, but if you think about the metrics, right? Like, first, you couldn't get a bike at all.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you would order a bike and you had to wait. They were like, yeah, you're gonna get your bike next year, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Then it came to there were no bikes that were under $4,000 available. Period. Now, quote unquote, whether or not that was actually true or not, yeah, we can argue that, right? Then it went to if you were buying a secondhand bike, it cost more than that same bike cost when it was new.
Right.
Just think about that. You were buying a 3-year-old bike and it was costing more than a bike that was brand new.
Yo, it was the Wild Wild West.
It was. Like, it got to the point where people were hoarding components. I mean, we even helped, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were scooping up stuff as we saw it because we were, anticipation, like, you couldn't get tires.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and then everything changed. Mask mandates went away up here in the Northeast, right? Like maybe across the country and some other states that had very serious mandates. And then we got the summer of 2022. Everything kind of changed. Racism were back.
Right.
People were outside.
So what'd you say? Racism is back? Is that what you're saying? Racism is back.
Yo, I thought you said racist.
No, racism
That man
came
said
back.
racism is back.
Man, that came back.
That's a wild statement. Like,
Bro, let me tell you why I said that.
the
bro.
way he said it too.
Yeah,
Racism is back.
Let me tell you why I came back. Because before, when it was COVID, everybody was kind of like, hey, yo, you're my brother. You know what I mean? You're
Black Lives Matter.
We were popping.
Yeah,
right?
we were lit.
Come August 2022, racism back like a mug. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, look at Darky on his bike. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy, right? So then you move to a place where now nobody wants a bike.
See,
Nobody wants a bike. So our mom and pop bike shops,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say,
got caught in the lag, and now nobody wants a bike.
Now they got all this inventory.
Yo, you can't sell a bike now.
You were ordering during the boom, and now it's like the stock is starting to come in, and now they got this inventory that they're sitting on.
The funny thing is that's across the board. That's everything. That's crypto. That's the stock market. That's cars. Like, used car. How used cars
were more than
prices
new
were?
cars.
Come on, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
Yes, it was wild, bro.
Yeah.
Like this is one of those once in a generation, maybe 3 generation type things that we experience, right? And seeing it go through and cycling as a microcosm of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wild.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Yeah. Do you feel like you overspent now looking back? I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yes, absolutely. I mean, there were so for example, right? Like, I mean, we're new to the industry, but there was a huge backlash to bike pricing. Like folks that have been in the industry for years, even if they came in 3 or 4 years before the pandemic, they were like, the pricing of the bikes is wild.
Yeah, but if as a company, you'd be crazy to see the demand and not turn up. It's not price gouging. It's still like they couldn't get parts or whatever parts they had to, should I hold on to them or whatever?
Yo.
And then once people started actually paying the prices, then as a company, you'd be nuts to be like, nah, let me stay right here. Only
here's how they hit it though, right? So through 2020, through the pandemic, there was a shift for manufacturers from rim brake to disc brake.
Right.
And that's how they justified the increase in price. Think about that, right? Because there were cats who were like, yo, we've been riding rim brakes for umpteen gajillion years. Now all of a sudden, you're charging me, 45% more on this bike because it's disc.
And some people still live by rim brake.
Yo, they do.
Yeah.
And you can't hate on them for it. How many Tour de France's have been ridden on rim brake?
Right?
Because the roads haven't changed. Nothing has changed on the topography of the races.
Right.
Yeah.
So
the reasoning when I was looking, or not just recently, but the last time I looked at something like that, they were saying that in crits and even in road races, based on the conditions, if there's 20 of us that have disc brakes and only 5 of y'all that have rim brakes, like you're a danger.
yes.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I can basically trust the braking of the person in front. It's the same braking system, but if it's different, then it's a little off. That was weird, but I was like, yeah, I guess I get it.
I can kind of see where they're going with that, but like, I don't know, that just feels extra.
Yeah. It feels like a reason to sell some shit.
Yeah.
It does. And what's crazy is rim brakes are gone now. Like they have literally been basically phased out in 24 months.
Yeah.
I think everybody got caught by surprise with that. Like, because there are people who have been in the industry for decades, and aerodynamicists were talking about how bike manufacturers change things and all this other kind of stuff with aeroness and all this. But they're just some regular old folks who are like, yo, I like tinkering with my bike. My bike is great. And now you can't even buy rim brake stuff.
Right.
Mechanical group sets, gone.
Yeah, Max. Yeah, that's funny.
Gone.
Right there.
Yeah, I'm concerned I'm going to be that old guy one day who's just stuck in disc brake and it's going to be some new shit.
But there can't be. All they can do really is change the tech of disc. Because it's like disc brakes with cars. Like, they're there.
I'm sure they're looking for a way to make braking wireless.
At all. Yeah.
That'll be tough because it's not wireless in any other application.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
No other application that uses brakes is wireless. Am I wrong?
That I can think of. You're right. Yeah.
Where safety and lives come into play.
I wouldn't trust it personally.
I'm not trusting.
I don't give a fuck about the technology.
I don't want to be going down a hill and I lose connectivity.
Right.
Hit a little jazz spot in Sterling and shit.
It's not working. What?
No, sir.
Yeah, I'm good. But, it's just, at some point, you have to say to yourself, listen, I just want to ride my bike.
Yeah.
Like, all this extra shit that we're putting on is at some point going to be like, okay, this is a bit much and it's not hurting me, nor is it helping me. Should I be spending this kind of money?
Well, we started seeing that. I don't know if it was a result of the pandemic and inventory being low or whatever, but people started jumping back on steel bikes, definitely titanium.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So even if people are stepping away from carbon, I don't know if they're stepping away from the tech, but to get back to the original feel of whatever that cycling experience was for you, then I see a lot of people turning back their way, even if they double up, like they have their carbon bike or whatever they race on, and then they have something else that they're just like, this is just pure enjoyment, and they can modify it and so forth and so on. Like, I see a lot of people doing that.
Y'all know me. I got this aluminum frame, and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
As you should.
It feels just as good from a speed perspective as a carbon frame. Now, will it be a little bit more tougher on the body for me on longer distance rides? Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe, because here's the thing, right? Like, so shout out to Chris Miller with Nero Cycling, is an Australian cyclist, and he has a team and he has a YouTube channel. So shout out to him. But he always tinkers with stuff, but he did this review of his Factor bike. Loved it. Like, oh my God, Factor.
I think I saw that, yeah.
And then he got a titanium bike. And he said, all right, I'm going to do my same training that I did on my Factor bike, same number of reps, but do it on my titanium bike. He was like, I cannot tell the difference. So then he raced the Australian state championships on his titanium bike, got first place.
Yeah.
So
what is that telling you?
Right. So what it's saying is, like, at some point, I mean, I feel like we are plateauing with bike tech, right? And yes, so carbon was about being light and all that, but now they're talking about aerodynamics where weight doesn't play as big of a factor. I mean, the vast majority of the world isn't climbing up Alpe d'Huez.
Right.
Right? Or doing these climbs that the pro cyclists are doing over in Europe. The vast majority of us aren't doing that. So is a 17, 18 pound bike bad now? Is it really bad?
And for how long are you riding where you're ultimately going to see like a huge dip in performance? And for the average cyclist, how much is that going to matter in a group ride?
I think that's experience. I think that's that's the part you were just talking about. Like, I don't think tech is necessarily plateauing, but the intersection between tech and how, like, what the human can do, what you're allowed to do. I mean, you could train your ass off and all that, but what the difference between the timing it took, whatever that was, to win the France race or any crit or whatever, like, how much faster can you get that as opposed to your body, your training versus the tech on a bike? Like, I think those things are kind of evening out to the point where I don't know. And I mean, I'm sure there'll be more, but as a right now.
And I think that's what I'm realizing as, I don't know, like, what do we call ourselves? Amateur cyclists? Like,
prosumers.
Prosumers.
That's what we are.
Like,
amateur prosumers.
As I, go on this cycling journey, I'm realizing it's more about the body and how I treat it and how I stay consistent and all of those factors that go into how I perform when I get out on the road, as opposed to, like me spending $15,000 and I'm not seeing any benefits if I'm not doing all the other things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, because listen, if you want to go out and spend the money,
if you got it, it's yours.
Spend the money.
Make yourself happy.
But I think a lot of it comes down to like staying consistent on the bike, training, eating right, and that will ultimately change how you perform outside.
But even through the contraction that's happening now, I think some industry players saw it earlier than others, right? And they started changing their marketing of their products. So, for example, with wheel manufacturers, they were talking about this rule called the 105 rule, very technical thing. Google that, you can look it up. But now it's like, we don't really care about that. What we care about is like Zip's mantra now, which is total system efficiency, right? Where they're looking at like the comfort and the roads that you ride on and how your wheels need to perform on that, as opposed to just being strictly aero. Now, why is that important? That's important because now you're probably not trying to save every gram on your wheel, right? Like, so now if there's a contraction and you still need to sell product, you can sell product that may not be as strict in this very narrow space. Now you're saying like, hey, everybody can love this wheel, whether you are your local racer or you a pro racer.
Opening the tolerances up a little bit.
You completely open the tolerance up. So now that you're like, okay, like come on in and buy. And we got 3 different price points that you can buy at and it'll work. Now, big manufacturers like Trek, who we work a lot with, specialize and like they're in more trouble. If you think about it, they're in more trouble. Like, so for example, like the Domani, like why does that bike still exist? The Roubaix, why does it still exist?
Yeah, with the likes of an Amanda and an Athos, right? Like, why do those bikes exist?
And because if the everyday rider, you no longer need to be like, get on this bike because you can use wider tires, because now your climb bike can use wider tires. Right? Like,
and there's an array of different tires in the market that will give you comfortability versus aerodynamics.
Right.
And
so the way they split the market up, the way it was all bifurcated before on these little thin slices, all that stuff doesn't matter anymore. Now you got the do-it-all bike, where now that bike is like, you can ride gravel on it, you can ride road on it. All you do is switch the wheels and you go.
Yep.
Roads.
And ultimately, we always say this, you need a bike fit. Yes. So your level of comfort can happen on an aero bike to some degree. With the stack height and how you're seated. But yeah, man, it makes it tough to go out and say, I want an endurance bike. I want a do-it-all bike and an aero bike. Yeah. And a gravel bike.
Why? And you're like, why?
And you only do like 30 miles a ride. Right. You're not even, averaging 150 miles a week.
Right.
So it's kind of
doing like 30 to 50 miles a week. So it's like, so and look, we know that the major companies by and large are buoyed by like their real foundation aren't these, bikes that are raced in, these professional races. They're these hybrids, quote unquote, like they sit you upright, they sit you very comfortably, you can commute back and forth to work on,
commuters,
pedal around with the kids, you can pedal around the park without wearing the kit and all that.
Right.
And that's very low cost for them.
Do you feel that these cycling brands don't sort of like follow the same business model as like the car brands? So for example, right, like you have a Lexus, right? Mm-hmm. You have your luxury model, you've got your mid-tier model, you have your base model of a car. Mm-hmm. And then in those 3 tiers, you can add different features to kind of get you to almost the next level.
Yeah.
But instead, the cycling industry is giving you like 5 or 6 different models.
Within the same frame design.
Yeah.
So we got this level carbon and this level carbon and that level carbon. And then now we're like, you can get this wheel, this group set. Like it becomes, the Matrix is crazy.
Yeah, it comes super like a la carte. And it's like, why?
Like why?
You're spending all this extra money, you know?
I think with your example with the car industry, they've found a way financially to base it around time. So if I get a lease, it's 36 months. If I'm financing, it's 5 years. I'm going to re-up. And it's kind of a necessity at this point in time. But in like with cycling, I'm not sure what they were attempting to do, but the amount of available products, they were just like, yo, we have a lot, so come spend some bread. And obviously people were spending money, but like, where's the comeback? And like, as far as the cycling community is concerned, like I think, if I got a knock on them, then I think that's where it was a failure. Like you just rushed people to spend bread real quick. We already seen that in history as far as like housing markets and all. That's going to fail, bro.
I just don't like what they say, the margins. You know, like some people think you can go into a bike shop and truly negotiate the price, and they only knock it down like $50 to $100, and then the sales associate goes, oh yeah, you know, like my margins aren't that great. Yo, something's happening with the industry. Your margins aren't that great, but you've been in business for a gazillion years.
So, yo, it's crazy because they act like they grocery stores. Like, you know what I mean? With 2% margins, bro. It's like, what? You're not a grocery store, fam?
Yeah, something's odd if you know your margins are this low, but you're also selling like $15,000 bikes.
That's a trash business model. This bike costs $15,000, I paid $14,000.
Right.
So I only get $1,000 off you?
No.
I find that hard to believe, yo.
And we know that's not the case, right? So to me, what I love about this is that now I want to understand who's really going to make a change in how their business model works, right? So right now, if you y'all remember near the end of 2021, like Specialized really fucked their dealers because they were like, oh, you can order from the Specialized website and we'll deliver direct to you.
Oh yeah, they were competing with Canyon.
Yes,
yeah.
But they were also competing, like Specials now competing directly with their dealers. That's like if Honda was like, you know what? Yeah, I know we got all these dealerships that are owned by.
No, he means direct to the. He's saying direct to the customer.
Direct to the customer.
Right. I think they saw what Canyon's business model was doing, and it was successful. And Canyon's product was cheaper than Specialized. So
cut out that overhead.
Specialized was saying, look, we're not going to change our pricing at all.
Right.
And we're just going to sell it directly to you. Now our margins
are higher.
Yeah. Hustling.
Yeah. Bro, like, so to me, you know what I think will really, really work well is if they went to a bike for hire model. And I know that's not a novel idea. It's been done in other industries. But it's like, yo, if I can just come and lease the bike for this period of time, and I give it back at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, same, just like a car, right?
That's what I mean. That's based on time.
Yeah, like I get it back. Yeah, you know, and then I can sell my lease bike to someone else later. You can buy the lease out at the end. Like, why wouldn't it work with bicycles the way it works with cars?
It can.
It totally can.
You trying to sell it on a private market is a nightmare.
No, but I'm just saying, right? Like, as a bike. So, for example, if I bought my inventory from whatever manufacturers I work with, and now they're mine, right? Because I had to pay them. I'm not sure how the back end works, but let's just say I had to pay X number of dollars wholesale for these bikes, and now I have them, and I can't send them back. If I send them back, it's a negative credit to me, right?
Yeah.
Right. So now, if I have them, as opposed to the bikes just sitting on the floor, why wouldn't I say, hey, come on and lease a bike, rent a bike for the entire, whatever you call it, but rent it for the entire summer.
Right.
You know, or rent it for the weekend. Right. Like, so that way the bike is actually still working for me as opposed to just sitting there collecting dust.
Right. Yeah, no, I love that as an option for your business. The only thing that I would say is, what if that bike shop has an opportunity to fully sell the bike? Like, what if
sell it?
No, but Chad, I need that bike. Bring it on back. Bro. Yeah, bring that back. I need to sell.
I'm saying, like,
hey, Chris, somebody actually wants that bike, bro.
Come on back.
Come on, bring that bike back.
I mean, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary.
Yeah, but you just like
I
when
got something else for you. Come on in. I got something else for you. Put you in something else.
I don't know. I think not cycling at large, but like the connection between, because it is that tactile and it's haptic, so there's far more. It's personal, bro. Like, that's your bike, and you have it set up the correct way.
Right.
Especially if you get it fit now. You know what I mean? You got to do all that again. So
yeah, because let's just say you do lease a bike, right? And you go get a bike fit, and your bike fitter says, hey, instead of this 100 mil stem, you actually need a 120, and it's handlebar stem combo. Now you're about to go spend another $400, $500 on the handlebar stem combo, and then if you let go of that bike, you're sitting on this
pieces.
This one piece that you can't use for your future bike.
As the bike shop?
No,
as the consumer, as you, the rider,
consumer.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're buying it, right?
Because I'm right now sitting on parts.
Bro, man, you can think about how you need a size 56. Here's how it comes. Oh, that's not your size. I gotta get you a new stem, so I gotta up that a little bit. This isn't your bar whip. I gotta up that a little bit.
I don't.
No, why not? They got all the parts.
Nah, I think they do, but
now they do.
They didn't plan correctly. They didn't. I'm not sure if they saw it as an opportunity. Like, this pandemic is happening. There's so many new cyclists in the space. I'm gonna spaz out. Like, did they think this was gonna last forever? Or this was just the new norm? Perhaps. Maybe they just thought like, oh yeah, this is regular right now.
I find that, if that is the case, this has to be the stupidest people in business.
So then how does Shimano end up in this predicament? Whereas I don't think they're gonna go bankrupt, but the cycling component side, because they do fishing equipment, all type of metal components,
they do everything.
But like this side, they're in trouble, bro.
Yeah, they're in deep trouble.
Listen, I hate to judge big businesses, but I'm sorry, I hate to judge small business. I get a field day on judging big businesses because they have all the resources, right? Yeah. So for example, if Shimano or any other bike manufacturer or large bike manufacturer legitimately thought that this once and on the face of the planet Earth situation is going to stay.
Oh yeah, you're silly.
They're not silly. They're fucking idiots. They're dumb. Fire everybody there. Whoever said that, fire them. Like, they should have been there like, we have a limited amount of time to capture and grab as much revenue as we can. You talk to your shareholders, you talk to your board and say, listen, this is not an ongoing thing. This is a one-time money grab.
Man.
And we're hoping the tail off of it will be slower.
Will be up compared to before it started. That's all. That's the only thing you could have possibly wished for.
It's going to be a trail off. You just hope it doesn't just do like.
No, I'm saying you started at 100 riders before the pandemic. You went to 500, now dropped off to 300.
Right,
that's good.
Wrong. Yeah, you're still good.
Why wouldn't you plan for that?
But plan for 500 continually?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But a lot.
Dumb. I think we're approaching this as if everyone in the cycling industry has like phenomenal business acumen.
That's true, bro. That's true.
That's true. That makes sense, but that's just not. I just feel like the cycling industry has been around for so long, but the business aspect of it is still in its infancy stages.
Which is wild to see.
Well,
it is.
But you only have one audience. You're just dealing with it's not like, you know what I mean? Like Target got a lot of people that may shop there.
Yeah, but
you have one particular audience.
Think about it. Obviously I focus on like creative and marketing, right? Just as a business. And so I'm always paying close attention to how these things look across multiple different industries. But for the longest, I have known the Latin community to be deep into cycling, and I've never seen any marketing focused on that specific demographic. Why is that?
Okay, so this is a perfect segue to talking about how their cycling companies are getting rid of brand ambassadors, right? Because to me, after George Floyd in 2020, BLM, the whole movement that happened in this country, there was a huge push to have more people of color be seen in ads and that sort of thing, right? Because Chad, you hit on a point that I think needs to be really amplified, because you're absolutely right. In the United States, Spanish speakers are the second largest group that cycles outside of whites. But talking about race, right? Mm-hmm. So, when you think about that, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane that you're not marketing directly to the second largest group.
And they are spending money.
Tons of fucking money.
Well, I mean, if I sat in the office or if I sat in the dark room with these marketing people and we go over the math and we pull the data, and somebody has a nice sheet and I realize like, is there more money to gain or are they over there shopping regardless? I don't have to say anything. They're going to spend money. Do you want to try to, as specialized or whatever, I want to grab a piece of that market particularly? Like I want more people to ride on Specialized, more Spanish speaking people or Latinx people to ride on Specialized. How do you do that?
See, I think that's how they think that first point you made, which is I don't spend enough and they're gonna still buy.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Right? Like so to me, like take what Specialized did, right? Like they sent letters to, it's all in the cycling news rags or whatever, right?
It was
like
600?
Yeah, like 600 or 700 folks. They were just like, you out of here.
So just for y'all that don't know, Specialized got rid of all of their ambassadors across the country. I believe it was somewhere around 600 ambassadors at different levels. It was like pro athletes, it was consumers, from my understanding, social media influencers, all of them.
So they basically said the way that we have been promoting and getting grabbing all these profits, all this revenue during this downturn, we're going to just eliminate that completely. And I think that is the laziest way ever. If anything, fine, maybe you scale back some, right? Maybe you scale back by reducing the number or reducing the amount per that you're spending. But so for example, you'll say, Akil, I know you've been an ambassador with us for the last 24 months or whatever, and we were paying you X dollars. Because of the industry contraction, this coming year, we're going to have to decrease you by X%, as opposed to dropping you.
But if,
dropping them gives them an immediate savings in costs.
Yeah.
Right?
But it also offsets. All right, so let's just say when you look at this math, that the projected number of new riders entering the space is almost nil. Like, what are you doing with these? Like, not because we are, classified as one of those individuals. So, I mean, what are you doing with those people? Like, you're not attracting anyone new. And if it's not even just whole bike sales, if it's little pieces here, components, you want to bring people into the store, they buy lights or, saddles, all that type of stuff. But
all right, can we just take a step back and define what an ambassador is?
Sure.
Yeah, I think that matters. That makes a difference.
Sure.
Because I think the term is used so broadly in this space.
It is.
An ambassador is someone who represents the brand.
Yeah.
Whether it be on social or when they're racing or just out in the community, period. Yeah. Right? So they say, hey, person A, I'm going to give you this product. Please represent it out in the community. Wear it, ride it, use it. Mm-hmm. That is an ambassador.
Speak on it, deliver some information about it, all that.
Speak on it and deliver information is the piece that I feel is missing from the ambassador program across a lot of brands.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, influencers do it, I guess, if you're online.
See, that's the problem. I also hate the term influencers, right? Because the core word is influence, right? When you're supposed to be influencing people, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, we have influencers who aren't influencing shit, and they're ambassadors, and they're just not doing what I would call, like, great ambassadorship, right? Like, because if
by definition, it should be you're representing.
Yes.
Whether
let's just use Black Watts, right?
Yeah.
If we were to have an ambassador program, you are speaking on behalf of Black Watts. You are an ambassador. So when you go from New Jersey to Georgia and you're wearing Black Watts, you are speaking on behalf of us, which means you are educating, you're informing people about what Black Watts is doing as a brand.
All right.
And also, ambassadors should represent the culture of the organization. So if you're about touching the community and being respectful and socializing and making sure that people are informed on the passion of cycling, you should be doing those things out in the community. But what I'm seeing from influencers or ambassadors, when you walk up to them, they are non-fucking social. And that is a representation of the brand that they're representing.
See, You're making too much sense.
Well, you out here trying to be rational.
Yeah, you being logical because I think, look, we're still in the infancy of how social media is being used by large corporations, just in general, to sell, to market. We're still in the infancy in relation to like print or TV. You know what I mean? Like there are some parts of how marketing has been going on for generations, right? I think that brands really rely heavily on your number of followers in some instances because it's not like they interview and they say, hey, what is your real level of engagement?
I was gonna say the algorithm doesn't even work that way.
It doesn't. And the thing about it is no fucking body knows how the algorithm works except the people who create the algorithm. And they're not giving up their secret sauce. So it's not like with TV, you can have people that you pay X number of dollars to watch commercials to get an understanding of, like, you know, like with the Nielsen ratings. Like,
yeah, but that's static.
There is no way for you to control the channel. So what they end up doing is placing money with influencers or people. Let's pull it all the way back. People that are on various social platforms that have a high number of followers, and they use that. Now, I think that some people in the cycling industry turn their nose up at that, and they're upset about it because they're like, these people aren't even outside.
Right.
They're not even riding their bikes, whether it's indoors training or outdoor training.
I mean, we got that energy.
Yes.
We got that energy. People looked at us as like, yo, we not outside. We not riding our bikes.
Yes.
They definitely look at us like that.
Yes. And we're like, we outside? Okay, fine. You know what? Maybe we not outside to the tune of 7,500, 10,000 miles a year, right? But
we live in the Northeast. Stop.
No, that's what I'm saying though, right? No, but there are legitimate people who are like, nah, I'm diehard. It's just like if you're a diehard soccer player or a diehard basketball player, football player or whatever, you just live and breathe this particular sport. And I'm saying that even when you look across the spectrum and you take into account a multitude of areas, like what is your level of community involvement? Are you really trying to expand the pie as it relates to it? Are you actually outside riding with other people? Again, talking about people who are going to work with larger companies to help promote their brands, right? Not I'm just on my bike by myself and I'm riding at 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. with nobody. And I take a lot of pictures on social, and I do some videos, and I never actually say, hey, buy this.
Right.
That's what
you do when you put hashtag ad.
Yes.
At the
What's
end.
What's the metric, yo? Like how? I always wanted to ask that of somebody who works in a marketing department or whatever department actually sits down and chops up that data. What is if I'm an influencer, quote unquote, and I'm online, even if I had 500,000 people or whatever that follow me, and I do what I do, but there's no particular link tree or anything like that. What is how do I then in turn say, yeah, this dude or this woman, this lady has generated X amount of dollars in revenue? Or is that the goal?
See, I think you can have, one, I agree. Two, I believe that there's like the idea that, like with Nike, right? Like they just give to AAU programs so you can see that check mark everywhere.
So it's out there.
As
proliferation,
that's it, right?
Right.
So that part of it may not have a direct ROI that comes back to you immediately. That's just more about brand building, right? Right. So that then you start talking about brand value. But the other side, and I think the heart of your point is that there is absolutely nothing being done to look at any metric. Because how do you snatch back 600? Nike would never be like, you know what, it's a downturn. All the AAU programs, all the colleges, you know what, I'm just going to take all the shoes back.
Y'all going back to Russell.
Right. They would never do that. They would never do that. You know what I mean? Like, so, and yes, the bicycle industry is small in relative to like shoes, right? But it's still a multi-billion-dollar industry.
It doesn't. Ambassadors like you said, like let's say it was a team, Christ the King in the city or whatever. Like Nike totally outfits them. They're like, yeah, we're not doing everything, but everybody's still, you know what I mean? There's sneakers that play, whatever.
Sneakers,
yeah, whatever it is.
Get headbands,
but to dead them, nah, it wouldn't do that.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm an ambassador for Specialized, bro. I can't give you a bike this year. But you know what I mean? I got you on whatever else
Your
you need.
consumables,
Like,
right?
whatever.
Your tires, your brakes,
Right.
whatever.
Shoes, helmets, all that.
Because last year I just gave you a bike.
Yeah, so
Right.
I can't. That's
So
the
you
part.
got a bike, but I can help
Yeah,
you.
like you got an SL7. Why do you need another SL7? Again. Yeah. Like,
600 people on the Yappies, like, you gotta go. Wow, just get up out of here.
I just think, you know, my assumption is they just looked at the value of the ambassador program and just said,
It's not there.
it's not there. And that's my issue is I think they just signed up a bunch of ambassadors that just, you know, like you kind of look and say, okay, what are you actually doing for us to represent the brand? Yes, you're racing, you're riding, you're doing all these things, but there's a whole market. This is my issue also. I'm going to chop that point is a lot of brands focus on athletes in terms of like market.
Pro athletes.
Pro athletes. And by far, the amateur cyclist who gets up and goes to work every day, there's way more of us than it is the athlete.
And the athlete's not even paying. I love the athletes. Let me say this again. I'm saying it into the mic deep. I love all the cycling. athletes.
Don't get me. It's just that there's a bigger market of us.
There's more.
Quite frankly,
yes.
they're not selling $10,000 bikes. They're not. They're not selling $15,000 bikes. So if you're out winning crit races, if you're out winning on a Tour de France, that's not making somebody buy an expensive bike.
I think the failure. All right, put it this
Like, why
way.
do people buy Porsches? When's the last time you seen a Porsche race?
Yeah, not because of some pro. No, not 'cause, you know
That's what I'm saying. Like,
No, but
Yeah.
it's built around the culture of that car. Like that's
Yes.
the history on that is crazy. But like, all right, so like basketball, for instance, there's a pro level and people are trying to get to it, and I could see them and I know them, and they might push consumer products to me and I might buy it. But at the same time, I'm a kid. I'm playing AAU. There's a path towards it. There's never been, or at least in my estimation from what I've seen, a thorough push to build either crit racing or on this side of things in the US, like to push the cycling racing culture or professional level to make it where it's accessible by people. Because even though, if I play basketball, I'm looking at LeBron or whatever, I may have the sneakers, I may not, but I could grab a ball and go play.
Right.
If I want to like compete, I got to get a team, a sponsor, a $12,000, $14,000 bike. There's a lot of, you know what I mean? Like landing points I can't reach just to get there. So instead of, I understand it, a bottom up approach. Let's use the ambassadors, whatever, to push the brand. But why not just like, look, let's put all of our money into pushing the culture itself. I'm going to use Into the Lions then as an example.
point. Yes.
Like that's an example. Like, oh, that shit was fire, bro. Like,
no, it was.
let's move forward. Like it doesn't have
Justin,
to be.
Legion, Corey, all the whole folks over there, CJ, the whole team.
That's my point. Is like, yo, you're spending all this money on one side, and there's no money being put into actually talking to the everyday consumer. You know, like we all want to aspire to ride fast or climb a really difficult hill, but nothing talks to us in that manner. No. We're just out here buying things to get the feeling without seeing what it looks like.
It's a disconnect between, like, even if they do hire ambassadors or even have people, even at the store, like with Trek, they have dots, and Specialized started connecting with the small shops around, like Strictly and Hilltop, all of that. So they have bike shops as people, but like there's a disconnect between like what's the next level up? Like, can you talk to somebody at Specialized, at Trek, at whatever company it may be? But there's a big gap. Is there someone in the room, hey guys, like this is what's happening on in the streets or whatever? Like, is there a person sitting there
honestly,
like talking to them or whatever?
And I think that's where we step in, because while we do have a relationship with Trek, we can kind of speak openly around the entire industry as a whole, you know, and because we've all owned different brands and products, and can speak honestly and candidly around like how we feel about certain things. When you walk into those bike shops, you know that the Hilltops and the Treks are all going to speak specifically towards what's in the shop.
Yeah,
I would be shocked if someone from a Hilltop, which is Specialized's partner, tells you, look, man, I know we got this tarmac, but that Amanda,
You probably fit better on that.
Yeah, you're probably. I would highly doubt that, especially if the margins are so small.
Yeah.
Okay, but in fairness, that's like if you go to a Toyota dealership, right? Oh no, actually no. Wait, hold on, pause. Let me rethink about that. Because going to like a local bike shop that you don't know is a dealer of only one brand, right? So we're using Hilltop as an example. Before, Hilltop is a local bike shop company that now is under the Specialized umbrella. So they went from selling maybe 3 or 4 brands to now only selling Specialized because they're now a part of the Specialized branding company. Outside people don't know that.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're just a mom and you want to go buy your kid a bike or buy yourself a bike, so you guys and your husband or whoever, and you walk into your local bike store because it just says Hilltop, you're only being offered one product. Right now, if Hilltop has, unlike cars, if I walked into my Toyota dealer, they're going to say, first thing they ask is actually how much do you want to spend?
Yeah. What's your budget looking like?
What's your budget looking like? Now, maybe they do the same thing, but with a bike, it's not like a car. I can't just move the seat and the steering wheel and I'm ready to roll.
Yeah. So I said it's personalized. Like it's not.
Yeah. You grabbing what looks pretty to you.
Yeah. In that moment. And even then you're like watching how much is this? Because there's no prices on nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
And that sales associate may not even be educating you on why it costs that.
At all. So, bringing it full circle, like the ambassadors and the people that will represent the brand should, like, large brands should be very strategic in how they do this, right? Like, okay, this group of folks, this is what you're doing for us. This other group, this is what you're doing. And like someone like us, like Black Watts, like we do a ton of stuff in the community and trying to grow the actual industry and widen the pie. So brands that we work with, like that's what we're focused on.
Yeah.
Just getting more people out here doing it.
Right. So yeah, we may not be selling your t-shirt or your hat or even your bike directly, right? But what we're doing in the community can be representative of what you believe, what your brand's belief is in this particular segment of the cycling community.
Right. And it still has to align with our beliefs too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So if you want some fuck shit, we're not gonna fuck with you.
We're not fucking with you.
And maybe even larger than cycling, but definitely directly speaking to them, I think they really do need somebody in the room. It just feels like everything that comes from these companies was void of anyone with any type of like voice sitting and like, yeah, probably not, probably this, probably that, whatever. That is either connected to the end user some kind of way, whatever that may be. We're speaking about cycling, but just connected directly to the end user and experiences what they experience.
You need somebody black in the room.
Yes, bro. I was about to say, they need somebody black.
I was gonna say,
they need somebody Dominican, Chilean.
What's dude's name from Shark Tank?
Which one?
Bro, that started FUBU.
Oh, Damon. Something. Yeah.
He was telling that story about the LL video, the commercial he did for the Gap or whatever, and he had the FUBU hat on, and he said for us by us in a cut, like in the actual commercial, and they didn't know. Right. Like Gap didn't know.
They didn't even realize.
So they let the shit ride for mad long, and then fired everybody from that team.
Right.
But
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody's in the team in the room with you as you market, like we're marketing, clearly they wanted to market to us. That's obviously what that was. They throwing hip hop and shit in there. So if you're like, yeah, I want to market to this demographic or to these people, and you look around and you don't have that person, you fucked up.
Yes.
You didn't have any of these people in the room while you were doing this. Nah, you're bugging.
But it's wild.
Why is that the case? And see, like there is some arrogance and ignorance that go hand in hand with this, because everybody that works for a bike company can technically ride a bike, unless you're handicapped or whatever. But you still may be able to get on the road and do something, whether it's on a recumbent or something, right?
Yeah, like bro in Miami.
Yeah, right? Like, so you can, I feel like I do have a voice if I'm in the room because I ride, right? Like, but what we're saying is not that, right? What we're saying is nuanced and it's bold, which is have representation in the room that understands not only internally what the company's goals are, brand wise, etc., but also the community.
Yeah, it's both. Yeah, both sides.
Yeah, like I'm tired of seeing like skinny people on bikes on ads. Always. Like y'all don't represent a good piece of the consumer that's buying these bikes.
And no problems with skinny people. Skinny people, I love skinny people.
Yeah, I'm not body shaming, but like, no body shaming.
We need to see a wider range of individuals.
And that's what I love what the Nikes of the world are doing. When you go look at Nike campaigns, even Apple, you're seeing people from all different walks of life on these campaigns, and now you're starting to see in retail stores, the mannequins are now coming in different shapes and sizes, which is super important, but we're not seeing that in the cycling industry. Goofy. They're either forcing you to go size up or size down, and it's just...
And it still don't fit either way.
And it still don't fit either way. It's weird. Yo, the biggest question when you buy cycling apparel is, how does it fit? So, and you always have to go back to, well, what do you wear? Okay, it's true to size. It just
true to what size?
Yeah, true to what size?
And it's funny. That's a long side. That's the bugged out part, is that it's right alongside that whole athleisure industry that blew the fuck up the whole time. Yeah, you're still bugging out.
Like why can't I walk in a store and look at someone who's on their journey, who's wearing your apparel? Instead we're just seeing one type of person.
Somebody at the end.
Someone at the end, or someone that's been doing it for 15, 20 years right now.
Yes.
And that's just not where the industry is, So like, that's the part that's kind of like frustrating. And I take it personal because when I got into cycling, I was like 2 and change. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not 2 and change anymore. Yeah. And so like,
but you had nobody talking to you when you first
nobody was
on.
talking to me at all. And you look at who's on the bikes and they're super fit, and I'm still on the journey. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you're not talking to me. Now I'm just a little more educated, and I don't need you to talk to me as much as I needed you in the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I needed you in the beginning. How are they now talking to the ladies though?
Oh my gosh, that's another.
I think the largest consumer of diet, exercise, like that whole thing outside of the whole bro gym thing, is women.
Yeah.
Look at Lulu. They killing the game.
Killing it.
And look at everybody that came behind their wave. They left a big wake in the water, and everybody just like jumped behind their wave. Right. So it's like, so Chad, you're talking about your journey, but like while we've been riding, we've met plenty of women who, because of the pandemic, gained whatever amount of weight, who have always struggled with their weight and just trying to be healthy or what have you. And they found cycling and they love it for a multitude of reasons. And they have a problem with clothing.
Yep.
Hell, they have a problem with the helmet because of the way their hairstyle is. It's not just like snatch back ponytail, let me put it on.
Right.
It's like they don't have helmets that work with braids. They don't have helmets that work with just certain hairstyles.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy because, again, bringing it full circle, we have these ambassadors that represent the brands, and we have racers, right? Like, if you're a racer and you're doing a gravel race, a crit race, or a road race, you do not look like the people that are riding a bike every day.
Right. Oh. And plus, I don't think these brands are truly asking for feedback on the products.
Ooh, talk about it.
Because if I'm giving you product, hey, so
what did you think?
Yeah. What did you like? What did you dislike? There's none of that. It's almost like, here's a product. Go ahead and market that shit. That's it.
Go to market.
Not even on some, here's product. Can you at least do 1 post a week? Can you share back your metrics on how many likes you've gotten from those posts? Do you have an affiliate link where you could kind of share out when people say, hey, Chad, I love the product? It's just no metrics behind it. And I just feel like the business side of it, when it comes to influencers, is just a little bit like lost.
Yeah.
I think if we're talking about like this whole situation and who the players are, then the accountability piece that we as the end user consumer have to play is like, if these companies aren't doing right, man, fuck them, cut them off, man. Like I think that's our piece, like, because people,
or at least drive to the ones that are doing it.
Yeah.
Patronize the ones who do it correctly.
Because quite honestly, all the I mean, look, all the bikes are the fucking same.
Yeah, I mean,
two wheels, handlebar,
I mean, but
chain.
even the designs now
They're starting to
Trek
blur.
did something different with the Madone. Shout out to them for trying to do something different. And their engineering team and their marketing team, honestly, for allowing the engineering team to come to market with something that was innovative. But by and large, it all has been the same since BMC came with the drop seat stays. Now, everybody's drop seat stay, aero seat posts of varying widths. Now that the UCI has relaxed some more of the rules that the pros can ride with, that's trickling down to the bike
anything that they ride has to be bought
because
sold
it has
consumer.
to, right? Yeah. So like Bianchi came out with this cool thing where they put like these air diffusers on the head tube of the bike. Made that joint look straight up like an F1 car.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's cool, right? Yeah, okay, fine. Maybe it's gimmicky to the average person, right? But still, like they're at least trying to do something different.
Right.
Yeah. Like the whole gravel push, the fact that they had the World Gravel Race and the winners and the top racers were not on gravel bikes.
Wild business.
Remember that? Yeah.
Wild business.
Bro, the Canyon boys were straight up on the Canyon endurance bike.
Yeah.
With 35s,
with
32s,
35s because it fits 35s.
Yeah.
They're like, we're good.
Like, how do you not have a meeting after that? Hey guys, let's go into the boardroom real quick and have a quick discussion.
Bro, and Canyon has a gravel bike.
They do. They got two.
Yeah. Several grails.
So if the athletes that ride your product are not using the product that's supposed to be for a specific type of race, what does that say about your product?
No, but it may also say like, our pros are not necessarily the individuals that are like straight to market or straight to the consumer. That's not, y'all saw that and all that, but does that change your thought on what should be used for gravel? In fact, I think that happened when we were in Bentonville. People were talking about like gravel. People are on gravel, like we're riding, and people are talking about that. Like, damn, they felt a little, like y'all got us. Y'all made us get into this gravel shit and spend some more money. But these dudes rolled the shit on road bikes, bro. Like, damn, I feel kind of
Bentonville is the devil on earth. But that gravel, bro. Oh my God. Shout out to Bentonville. It's a great city, great biking city. But that gravel out there is different.
Yeah.
Trying to tell that is Satan himself reaching up from the ground, testing all of your emotions and your belief in God.
I thought I was going to cry and die.
Yo, for real. But that's what I'm saying, right? So tying it into the ambassadors, right? So if you're doing gravel, which a lot of bike brands are pushing into now, particularly here in the States, you have two types of gravel bike, like a touring gravel bike and a race gravel bike.
Yeah.
But in the world gravel competition, your athletes are not using your gravel product. That is crazy.
Wild business.
That is we got an F1 car. Lewis Hamilton is like, nah, I'm going to go ahead and ride this NASCAR.
Are you sure, bro?
Because I feel like it's going to help me win.
Yeah.
Right? Like straight up.
Yeah.
Like how was that possible?
They didn't check in. They just was like, we out here. They had to see it happening. Like,
so you got that happening, and then you have your legion of influencers and brand ambassadors and that sort of thing, who are telling people to ride these bikes.
Are they?
And they're quote unquote, right? Because they see them on it. But then you see the pros who not even. That's like LeBron. Like, Nike. Like, we got the LeBron 20 out, but LeBron out there in some Kyries.
Yo, there was a point where LeBron was in LeBron Soldiers.
Yeah.
It was like, so wait, why am I buying a $200 LeBron?
Yeah,
he don't even wear them. He's balling in them.
Winning championships.
Kidding me?
That 2016 championship he won in Cleveland, he was in the Soldiers, bro.
Yeah, he was in Soldiers.
Speaking of that, like with Just, Corey, CJ, all of them, like Legion doesn't make me want to buy a Specialized. It makes me want to get further into cycling. And I think that's the bigger part of it. Like when I see them, like, oh shit, I'm more excited about the sport. I don't necessarily want to, like, oh, maybe, but I'm saying, I don't look at him like, I want to wear that. I want to ride that because he has it on.
I sold my Tarmac.
Yeah, see?
And so, like, it wasn't like, oh, I want to keep my Tarmac. I sold it to get it in Monda, So it had nothing to do with Legion, and what they're riding. It was more about what they were doing for the sport.
That's what I mean. They're not, like, when you see that as a company, whether it's SRAM, Specialized, whoever, look at that. Like, look at that. Yo, there's a big push towards that community, towards this race. Like, this was a good idea. So it's not that they're selling you a product, it's that the culture or the movement is, so put the bread there, put the money behind that.
Yes.
And they're just, they fail to do
the
it.
product should actually be like a supplement.
Yeah.
Like if you can't get someone to actually move the culture in the community, then why even bother with the product? You know, like I always say, like, I think we look at ourselves as consultants, not influencers, because we're actually consulting on what the brand should be doing in the community, not just give us product, because we, quite frankly, don't need the product.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, we're blessed and fortunate enough,
Yeah.
we worked hard enough that we can buy whatever product we want to have.
Yeah, it's more so about like, hey, we love what you guys are doing, but let us help you bring it into the community and actually make a true connection instead of relying on like social media.
This shit is hilarious, bro.
Yeah, like
it
it's
is.
just
And you know, going to back to your point, Ak, about what Legion has done. Shout out to Corey and Justin and those guys, right? Because like you said, like they may not make you want to buy a Tarmac, for example, right? Or the Venge or whatever the hell they're riding. But they are moving the industry forward, which is beneficial for Specialized to see someone that's doing that with that particular brand, SRAM, you know, and Specialized with their bikes, and Zip with their wheels, right?
Yeah.
But who else is doing that? Because, you know, their biggest rival in their professional scene, right, at the time was Good Guys, right? No, Best Buddies. Sorry. Best Buddies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like Amino something, whatever the light blue and pink team.
Yeah.
Right. The fact that I don't even know the name of the teams.
yeah.
Right. And I don't even know who the riders are. Right. Like, I think that's Justin's message, which is like, how can you want more people to do this when you're not even marketing it right? Like, and by the way, you don't have to be creative. Look at what basketball has done. Look at what football has done.
There's blueprints for it. That's what I mean.
Yes.
You don't have these people in the room, like no one's talking to y'all.
Yes.
From a marketing perspective, right, as a quote unquote team or club, there are two groups that stand out from a phenomenal marketing perspective that actually drive people to the sport. One being Legion, and the other one being Education First, EF.
Yeah.
Like, that is it. I don't see anyone else that has like done a phenomenal job at like collaboration, creativity, and like pure market presence.
Outside of cycling, what did both of those groups do? What do they have in common? They did it in different ways, but what did both of those groups do? They tapped in. Like, they tapped into people. Like, I don't necessarily, like, EF is not running, like, I'd rather watch crits, but they're doing road races, but they're not running that side. But I'm super interested.
Yeah.
They tapped in. They got to it. Like, we want to get to the people, bring them back on this side. Whether it's collaborations with Rafa and it's just, or Palace, or it's just something that's, you know what I mean, it's a tire or the bike wear, it's still part of that culture. So,
right.
You know, I'm gravitating towards that. Same thing with Legion. The fact that there's actual living, running proof for these companies that exist right now, it's out there right now, and they still bullshitting. Like, that part is funny to me.
And that's a shout out to Canyon, because they're EF.
No, Cannondale.
Oh,
Cannondale, yeah.
Sorry. And Specialized. Like, Trek is failing, bro. Like, first of all, on their pro team, on the world stage, all of them are way better riders than me. So this critique is just like if I'm critiquing the Lakers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, they got Mads Peterson and who else?
I don't
Who the
know.
fuck else is on the
Because
team?
I'm not connected that deep. Because
There's no, because no, but
My point exactly.
No, not because someone else on the squad would be, you know what I mean, is not as good or whatever, but there's just, they have yet to tap in. Like, they didn't get you to be like, yeah, I'm super interested for whatever reason. Whether it's just purely the cycling side, probably not. But there's no other reason why you know anybody else on that squad or what have you. Son did great at the tour. Like, he did what he did, so you've seen him. But other than that, like, yeah, EF got my attention. Legion definitely got my attention.
And by the way, I don't even know one rider on EF.
I know the Lachlan.
He don't ride with them no more. I mean, he's still with Team EF, but he's not racing in the tour with them.
Yeah.
So but that is the point, right?
And they're not the team themselves the team itself is not connected to the culture. The brand is.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
right, but the team, what they ride, drives what the brands create so they can have success out there. Because otherwise, why not just be Schwinn? Huffy. I mean, those brands are probably gone now, right? Or very, very minimalized and have very, very small market share. But like if you think of like a brand like Colnago, right? They probably kill it in Italy, right? They're probably killing it in Italy. But here in the States, Trek is a big brand. It's a U.S. company. But good God, man, there's so much more that they should be doing.
I just think
Specialized is a big brand here in the States. Good God, man, there's so much more they should be doing.
It's just a huge disconnect from the culture. Every other brand right now is connected to the culture. You can't watch a commercial without there being some connection to the culture or approaching, like interracial marriages and dating and gender specific commercials, and there's just none of that for the cycling industry. And it's the world we're living in today.
And look, I accept, because I agree with you, Chad, but I accept the counter, which is we good over here.
Yeah, that's
what
what it is.
We are okay with what we've always done, whether y'all come in or not. It doesn't matter, because like Ock's earlier point, you're going to buy the bike anyway if you want a bike, right? So
see, there's this missed opportunity. There's always missed opportunity.
With your business hat, you feel like there's missed opportunity. As a consumer, I'm wondering, well, if I'm not being represented in any way by your brand, and your product is just like these other 5 products.
That's our accountability. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So like, all right, I always like to bring it on home for us as a brand, Black Watts. When we first got into cycling, we were just purely a bunch of black dads that wanted to get on bikes. And we felt like there was a missed opportunity to connect with other genders. Right. And so what did we do?
We shifted.
Became
more inclusive.
We became more inclusive because how dare we get into an industry that's not inclusive, talking about inclusivity and not being inclusive,
right?
Then exclusive,
and exclude people.
We didn't necessarily do that. You're right.
All girl dads too, so kind of
it was wild.
We didn't set out to be like it wasn't even you can't join. It just happened to be a group of black fathers that started riding together,
right.
And I think a lot of people were saying like, even we met some women that are actually on the squad now. That's like, damn, at first I thought, weren't y'all just about black guys?
Right.
Like, it's just who came together. But yeah, we recognized it. So, and
why can't the brands recognize it?
Son, I really think they
don't give a shit.
Nah, at the end of the day, like if it's not moving the needle, they
don't know if it's moving the needle or not. If they haven't attempted to do it,
and they have no way to even measure,
and they don't want to. Like that's the part that's frustrating me. They're not even making real attempts. It's so frustrating.
Like, bro, real talk though. Real talk. Given what we just said about Legion, right? If Legion had the influence that it has, because Legion, I believe, has an outsized influence on, if nothing else, their visibility, because they've been in major magazines. Like Justin has been on big TV programs. Like, so they have an outside influence on that particular segment of the industry. If there was any other sport, they would have their own shoe. If it was basketball, if it's hockey, they probably got their own stick or whatever the hell it is, right? Their own skate or whatever.
Because as of right now, you cannot buy a Legion specialized shoe, but you can get a Peter Sagan shoe.
Correct.
And bike.
But why can't you get a Legion
and
bike?
Pay more for it?
But why can't you get a Legion bike? Like no, seriously. Like even if it's on the Allay. Right, even if
which is their aluminum frame.
Their aluminum frame, right? Why can't you just buy a Legion colorway bike? This is what I'm saying, right?
But you can get a Peter Sagan.
But you can get a Peter Sagan one. And Peter, don't get me wrong, Peter was a beast before.
Of course.
But now Peter, you know what I mean? He old.
He chilling.
He old. I mean, he like
our age.
Peter's up there. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's still a beast. And what he's done, he's broke barriers. He's broke records. He was a phenomenal person when he was in his prime. But just like if we were talking about somebody in basketball, He's outside of his prime. He's definitely on a decline, right? Like his new team, Total Energies, they don't even market him. I know why he's there, to help sell jerseys and whatever merch, and he's probably a strong rider. He's just not who he was before.
Right.
So I'm not putting him down in that way. But what I'm saying is that, okay, fine. Outside of the US, maybe Peter is like still God as he walks on the earth.
Probably.
Right. But here in the States, in our market, Legion is that person.
Yep. You see a gazillion Legion jerseys out on the road now.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm not seeing no Team Sky or... Man, don't get me started.
Emirates.
Yo, so, man, a lot.
UAE, like none of them.
Get somebody in the room. That's my advice. If you're watching this and you SRAM, Trek, Specialized,
Like truly
Canyon,
get
Giant,
someone
somebody
in the room,
man. Stop playing.
to help you make conscious decisions regarding the products that you're putting out in the marketplace.
That's if y'all care. Like if you don't give, you know what I mean? If it's
If your attitude's we good over here.
yeah, that's
Don't wait until the product has been like already gone through marketing approvals. Hey, Black Watts, we'd love to bring you into the creative process around this new product that we want to bring to the market in spring, summer 2024. Please help us think strategically around how we could tap into the market and really connect with the community on a level that allows the consumer to make an informed decision on purchasing our products. Boom.
Yeah.
yeah.
No word. And by the way,
won't happen.
Black Watts, whoever else. Right?
Whoever else.
We always gonna speak
Whoever
from
else.
our standpoint, our
Right,
perspective,
right. So, there are other tons of clubs
and individuals,
and individuals. Like there are women's clubs. There are
women racers.
women racers. I mean, there's just while the industry is very diverse. Okay, fine. It would be awesome to have every segment represented, but even if you don't, you can still sweep in a whole bunch by just listening.
Ooh, because guess what? When this releases, it's going to be Black History Month.
It will be
Y'all on the clock.
on the clock.
Yeah,
So-
the last couple years,
Couple
I
years,
don't know.
bro. Like,
Y'all on the clock.
and that's with BLM happening. They still didn't do nothing for Black History Month. How is that? They didn't do nothing for Asian. I mean, okay, fine. Everybody always does. What is it? International Women's Day? Like what? That's not how it works in this country.
It's the month after, yeah. So
Like we got Asian, you got Asian History Month, you got Hispanic Heritage Month, you got
yeah.
Black History Month. Like you have so many affinity groups that are worth marketing to for capitalist reasons.
And it's so simple. Just tell a story. Tell a story that connects
Bro, we not done. We
the
know it's
brand
for the
back to the
bread.
consumer.
We know it's for the bread.
Yeah, just tell a story that
Treat us
connects the
nice.
brand
Take
to
us
the
to dinner.
consumer.
You know what I mean?
saying?
Give us a
It's
good
just
dinner,
that
some
simple.
nice wine, right? Don't just try to be
At
like
a
right,
very
you know?
cost-effective level, just tell a story.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
Which is easy to do. Doesn't need to be a whole fucking movie or a documentary. Just tell a short story.
Easy.
Because that's how we consume shit anyway today.
Facts.
y'all listening?
I hope you are. Hope you are.
I feel like I was getting a little too passionate on this topic, man.
Any inquiries, if
Nuts.
anybody's interested, info@blackwatts.cc. info, INFO at blackwatts.cc.
That's real. We
Good episode, guys.
oh yeah, because we
Yeah, we definitely had way more shit to talk
We
about
did. We
today.
definitely
we just
did.
did a deep dive on that once.
Those two topics,
Word
bro.
up.
Those two topics. We will be back with more because we have a lot more to cover.
They got a lot.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about, and we're super excited about recording this season just because we've gotten a little bit more experienced into this industry.
Yeah.
We've had a lot more conversations. We've been talking with a lot more people.
Traveled.
We've
We traveled.
Yeah.
Every time someone has walked up to us and said, "Hey, we would love for you to cover this topic," we have definitely written it down, and we're gonna touch on it. We're here for y'all.
Speaking of that, everybody, like, listen, if there's something that either is on your mind, bike related or not, especially if it's coming from a person who just started out or what have you, like, let us know and we'll try to cover that. So, like you said, info@blackwatch.cc. Just, hey, for the podcast, blah blah blah, talk about this. We on.
Yeah, because someone actually wants us to cover cornering.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Do we have time for a quick Coach Chris
Yes.
segment.
We do.
Well.
Chris ain't gonna turn that down, boy.
Oh, you know, always got something. Always got something.
Man,
so today, what I want to share with you guys is about pedals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Flat pedals, which are plastic, which come on, like, think about the kids' bikes. Those are a great way to get started on your cycling journey. And if you start there, that's a good way for you to have your initial bike fit so that and everything works out well with you. And then as you progress, you can move into what's called clipless pedals. Now, it's a misnomer because clipless means that you actually have clips. So it goes back to the history. Google it, you'll find it. But SPD pedals are great because you basically have your full shoe and you have a small little thing that connects into the pedal. The pedals typically have a larger platform. They're easy to get in and out of. So I would say start off with your flat pedals, and then when you're ready, move over to like an SPD pedal whereby you can begin clipping in, which will allow you to clip in and clip out. And then as you move further into your journey, you can move from there to like a different pedal. Like, for example, a Shimano has a pedal, Look has a pedal, and the one that you guys love.
For gravel, we use Time.
Time has, Time. I can't forget Time.
And
Time
then
has a
for
great pedal.
road, I cannot use Speed Play.
Speed Plays, and Speed Plays. Speed Plays, as a matter of fact, I would say if you're moving into road, that may be the easiest pedal for folks because even though it's a smaller platform, it's easier to get in and out of, and you can get in and out of it on either side of the pedal.
I would argue to say that if you're racing, Speed Plays is the best pedal also.
There's no need to look down. You just when you throw your foot on, it's gonna find and clip in.
Yeah, because this pedal conversation just isn't for people who are just starting out. There are people who have been riding for years that are curious about different types of pedals.
Yeah.
So we're not brand ambassadors for Speed Play
Not at all.
or Wahoo.
Nope.
It's just a personal preference that I enjoy having to not think about clipping in when pushing off.
So again, Speed Play pedals, if you're just starting off, I think is a good way to go. I also think SPD pedals, if you're just starting off, is a good way to go clipless. Again, clipless is a misnomer. It actually means that you're clipping your foot into something.
And SPD, sorry to cut you off, Chris, is another option which allows you to clip in on both sides. Now, they do make options that give you the opportunity to clip in on one side, but also be flat on the other. Those are great if you're feeling slightly uncomfortable with the idea of like clipping on both sides. You can clip in on your left and be on your flat pedal on your right.
A little hybrid.
Yeah, just until you kind of get comfortable with it. But yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, pedals. We have pedals. So also check out our website, blackwatts.cc. We have merch there. We have a jersey.
This coming soon, y'all.
It's coming soon. You guys are going to like it. It's called Neon Lights. It's black, and it's from our classic design that we started out with in 2021.
We should have brought one.
Yeah, we should have brought one. For the next episode, we can have one to show you guys.
Chris will dress up in it.
I'll definitely will. But definitely check out our website. We're going to have more merch. As you can see, the guys today are wearing a cap.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the cap is great. That's definitely going to be on the website soon. And as you can see, Chad definitely has on the hoodie. You can find the hoodies right now on the site. But yeah, come check us out. Check us out. So by the time this airs, there'll probably be more there. So blackwatts.cc shop.
Appreciate
Bong,
you.
Yeah, we done.
Yeah.
More watts.
More watts. Thank you. Don't forget, get out of that shitty ass chamois.
That's gonna be your advice every day.
Oh my God.
That shitty shit.
That shitty chamois is terrible. And yeah, stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Peace.